Okay. Motivation. I have not had much of it lately. Now, I know I have a lot planned for this channel, and I know I made a video talking about admitting defeat, but I feel like this kind of coincides with this and kind of follows up on that, and sort of admitting when I'm in over my head and when I might need to step back and reassess some things, because I honestly don't know what I want to do. Like, I thought I knew what I wanted to do, but I don't. And it's a very human thing. And it's understandable. So what exactly is this video? It's a little, I guess, creator honesty. Let's say that. We can call this the... I don't know. What can we call this? Burnout? Possibly? Burnout on top of being in over my head on what I want to do and how much I want to do, and not necessarily admitting defeat, but admitting that I have put too much on my plate. So it kind of just creates this perpetual limbo. Sort of like stalling, not necessarily procrastinating, because procrastinating means I'm doing things to put things off. This is more so me just full stop, in limbo, time frozen, not sure which direction to go because there are so many things that I want to do. Like, I haven't even actually gotten to chapters 1 through 4 of A Court of Thorns and Roses for the video I want to make, because that's what I'm going to be covering. But I have a feeling a lot of people didn't really watch that one because I went PNG tuber on that. Although it was nice not having to set all of this up. But I feel like this is the year of really not necessarily revisiting the building the metaphorical farm that I spoke about last year. It's more of really breaking down what should be on the farm and what I realistically can keep on that farm, in a sense. Because I do like writing videos. I do like rambly videos, obviously. And I know for a fact that a lot of my views and followers are coming from a video that I made a couple years ago for something that I don't do much anymore. And that was the sort of reimagining Bam Bam. It was that video where it's just like, oh, I'm going to take the little opening line of for a parent looking for the lost child, time is of the essence, something like that, and just working with what the first game gave us and reworking that into something that made more sense for that tagline, considering how just far away from that the rest of the games have gotten. And I do want to do like a teaching series on here and teach people like the things I've learned through self-publishing, even though I've only actually published 2 books. But I am working on a handful of them. And I do want to start making more like videos focusing on me writing and going through the publishing process for Opposing Forces and focusing on that book. But it really is and has been just a struggle to find that motivation lately. Like, I don't know if it's burnout. It could be burnout. That is a very realistic possibility. Because I know I've spoken about this in the past. But trying to prevent burnout as a creator is, especially an online creator, is different than trying to prevent burnout in like a physical job, like back when I was doing shipment in retail. Like, I knew my limits there physically. I could feel it in my body yelling at me, being like, hey, yeah, no, you are doing too much. Find a chair and sit down. You are about to pass out. You are about to basically struggle through this. You're gonna drive yourself insane, pushing yourself to get an unrealistic amount of work done, step back. When it comes to content like this and content creation in general, you don't have that same sort of physical reaction until it's too late and you're experiencing pretty much full burnout. Like, there's no like little warning lights or just like physical sensations of, hey, yeah, no, you're a little in over your head. Step back. Take a break. And it's human to need breaks. That's part of being a human. You can't overwork yourself or else you will essentially just crash out. But as a creator, it's like, even as a small creator trying to get myself more out there, the algorithm doesn't allow for that break. The audience will. Followers and subscribers will. Like, that's one thing I have definitely learned. If you tell an audience you need to take a break, they will completely understand. But the nature of social media, on the other hand, doesn't. It doesn't really allow for that. And I feel like that's something that does kind of make it hard to, I don't know, balance things out maybe? Like, I don't really fully know. Because it really is one of those things where it's not necessarily about finding a balance, it's finding what the signs are that you need to step back. And it's not easy. It really isn't. Because even when you think you figured it out, you can get back on track, start working on things, and all of a sudden, back at square one. And it's like, oh, it wasn't that thing. I just thought it was. So then you're just like, okay, was me dealing with that like placebo effect? And just like, okay, I figured it out. I can push forward. And that's the thing with certain burnouts. You can't just push yourself to make something. Because it's easy to say, oh yeah, no, it's like the easiest way to beat burnout, to beat lack of motivation, is to just power through and make something. But you can't always do that. And I feel like sometimes that just worsens the burnout. So it's easy to feel lost. It's easy for that burnout to make you feel completely lost and completely unsure of what to do and how to move forward. And I'm going to be honest, that's exactly where I have been. Because especially this January, and I made a video briefly talking about it, but for the first half of January, it was like a limbo period, like a rest period, where it's just like, okay, I can get away with not doing anything. But then suddenly, like halfway through the month, if I started feeling antsy and agitated, and like everything had to be done at once. Like if I didn't get it done then, I couldn't do anything else for the rest of the year. Like everything had to be done right then and there. And then suddenly, near the tail end of the month, suddenly things felt normal. I don't know how or why, but literally sometime after I made that initial short talking about that antsiness, that restlessness, things like leveled out. Things felt back to normal. But now it kind of feels like entering a period of uncertainty. And that lack of motivation. I don't know if it's a result of that period of feeling like I needed to get everything done, because I didn't like push myself to get a ton of things done. Because it was mostly the feeling that I had to get things done. I wasn't constantly pushing myself to make things. I mean, I was making a lot of content in January. I think I did like I made a handful of videos. With like 3 or 4? Including shorts. But I think that on top of knowing the things I want to do, but then also seeing what people are coming to my channel from, I think that's kind of adding to the lack of motivation. It's sort of like demotivating in a sense. Because I know everything's coming from the Bam Bam video, and I appreciate everyone who stuck around from that video. But that's not the content I want to make anymore. Like, at the time, I was making that content. I was enjoying making stuff like that. And yeah, it is fun to try to rework things, be like, oh, well, what if this did this? What if this did this? But now that I'm not really talking much about that, it's like for a while that video was able to keep things like coasting in a sense. But now it's basically almost like a realization period where it's like, okay, everyone that's subscribed for that has realized there's not going to be more content like that. And I apologize for that. I do, honestly. I've really honestly been debating on deleting that video because it's not the first time something like this has happened. Like long ago on on one of my original channels, because this is my first foray into YouTube, I had essentially a one-hit wonder that ended up being the only thing people came to, the only thing people came to see, the only thing people interacted with, and it even sort of haunted me throughout my journey moving forward to try and do other things that I wanted to. But nothing else got interaction. It was only that. I mean, luckily this hasn't been that bad. You guys have been sticking around and actually sort of interacting and watching my other content. But it really is reminding me of that. And again, I appreciate all of the subscribers I've been getting and the fact that you guys have been sticking around, but it's just the realization that that video is the only thing that's been keeping it alive, like this channel alive. It's making me sort of want to rethink my approach to this channel, because I don't want to do any more content like that. I don't plan on making more content like that. So do I private it? Do I delete it? I might just private it. I might just private all the Bam Bam content, honestly. All the content like that. Even the old more to the story videos. But I feel like between that and just feeling lost in general on what I want to do. Because again, I do want to do a ton of things, but it's a matter of, do I want to do this because I want to do it, or do I want to do this because content? And when content sort of feels like a chore to make, even if it's something I enjoy to do, that's when I feel like maybe I need to step back. Now, I'm not leaving the channel. That's not what I'm saying. But I do feel like I need to reassess. I do.